Hey guys, it is Chris here, and I'm just getting myself everywhere I should be. And okay, opening this up so I can actually see comments if they're happening. And here we go. So I've been promising for a week probably that we were going to recreate one of my projects from Extravaganza. And today is the day we are going to do it. So I've grabbed a whole pile of stuff, and I think in the end we're probably going to end up doing it a few times in the course of the next little while. But really, what I wanted to kind of try also to reinforce with teaching this again is that you can take something that you've done before and make it new again. Let me just make myself bigger here for 1 second while I'm talking. But we're going to flip. Okay. So the whole point of what I was trying to demonstrate with this is that you can take something that you've created before and recreate it, and it'll look completely different. So now I'm going to flip them so you can see. It's weird. I'm not really sure. There we go. Maybe that's a little bit better. I'm going to put myself up in the corner. Nope, that's the wrong button. You guys, today, swap cameras. There we go. Okay, so this was the original class that I taught in the membership group. And so it says, I heart today, and there's these super cute little pull-out tags to hide your journaling or a note, or you could actually add an additional photo in there if you wanted also. So this was the original class, and then during Extravaganza, I taught it with party time paper, and it was super bright and tons of fun. So this one says celebrate. We did some paper ripping with a multicolored title. Obviously, we did some stamping on these little pockets. It was super bright. Again, we did the sequin cascading element. And then there's a fun cupcake. So covered with stickles. Just let me mute my notifications that seem to have come unmuted. There we go. Just because sometimes it can stop the feed. So then during that class, I showed them a version that I recreated again with Lovely. And this is the thin cut, the flower thin cut. And I put a different title on it, Memories. We still did the cascading sequence all across the page. We did some embossing on these pockets. And then there's the pull-out journaling tags again. So then I swapped out some shimmer trim, changed up the papers. This little scallop is also embossed with one of the embossing folders. Sorry. But so today, I printed some new photos, and we are going to recreate it again, and it's going to look completely different. So I've grabbed some papers from the In This Together, and we are going to have some fun here. So the first thing we're going to do is just like in, I think I did in the original, I splattered the background with a shimmer brush. So we are going to, it's that whole pile of white. The camera wants to try and autofocus on it, and it does not like that. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my all-purpose mat, and I'm going to do some splattering. You could do them lots of different ways with different products, but I'm going to use a shimmer brush, and I grabbed two. So I have Evergreen and I have Wisteria. And I think I was going to do Evergreen right away, was my thought, but I think I actually might do the Wisteria. So I'm just going to show you the pieces of paper I pulled. So these are cut at exactly the same dimensions as when I taught the layout in class. And if you want the original sheet that has the dimensions, so it has the supply list for a party time, the dimensions. There's a design space link for this one, and then all you have to do is just, if you comment below sheet, I will add the link after. I just can't do it while I'm actually teaching. So these are this is kind of what my brain decided to do today. So I have, these are my papers that I picked. We're going to do some coloring. I pulled back out that March stamp that I used earlier, or I guess it was last week when we did March. And then I've cut my pockets with lilac. And then I have grape for my photo mats. Okay, and then you guys, wait till you see this tray. So I'm going to bring my tray in. So I cut a whole pile of 4-leaf clovers, and that's what I'm going to use instead of the cascading sequins on this layout. So I'll talk more about those when we get to that point, but they're very dimensional. And so my thought process is we're going to have them run all along the side here. And I'll show you the inspiration came from the Current Idea book. And it was when I was looking at last week when I made the March insert for the calendar, I was showing the stamp set and I saw this and I thought, oh, let's turn that into our cascade instead of the cascading sequins on this. And it freshens up the layout. It makes it look completely different. And so that's what we're going to do. We'll assemble these when we get to that point. And I'll talk about where they came from and all those good things. Hey, Pauline. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to splatter my background, for lack of a better term. So I think I'm going to use the Wisteria to draw. Sorry, you know what? I'm just going to put this right here for a second. To draw out the purples out of the paper, because there's so much of the green going on that I want to just highlight the purple a little bit. So I've got my Wisteria shimmer brush and I'm just going to shake it and pull my cap off. I'm going to make sure before I squeeze any out that it's tightly sealed, because sometimes if from pulling them on and off, I think that we have a tendency also to twist it to get it to come off. And so that loosens the barrel, and then we get the shimmer inside there and it can get leaky. So always before I go to squirt it out, I double check that it is sealed. Okay, I shouldn't say I do that every time because I have been known to make a big mess also. So I'm just going to move this camera. Okay, so I'm just going to splatter this and hopefully I'm not going to get that autofocus problem happening. So I've just dropped some of the shimmer brush onto my block, and from the block I'm just going to gently push it off in the sections that I want it. So I do know that most of my layout is covered up. So, right, I want it really around my edges. And it's really just to break up the white space a little bit And like I said, draw in that extra color. Okay, so that's enough. You can also, if you wanted some bigger drops, we'll do that too. You can just pick it up and drop it. If there's a certain spot that you wanted a little bit more or less, you can vary your drops that way. Okay, I'm just gonna get a baby wipe so I don't end up completely purple. I got shoved right to the back of my cupboard there. Okay, so I'm just gonna give this a second to dry and we'll do some other things. Okay, so everything just cleans up really nicely right off of your all-purpose mat. So that is very handy. I'm just going to see where I've got my lid here. I'll put my lid back on there. We're going to use that again in a few minutes. But, okay. So I am just, so what happens when you put it on the block is it makes it a little bit more controlled. Versus hitting it. So your other option would be to take your shimmer brush and you can tap on it or you can hit it across something else. But dropping it off of the block allows you to get it exactly where you want it versus it just kind of splattering all over the place. Okay, so now we are going to just lay in place some of our pieces. So you see, I knew already, I just wanted little bits around the edge. I probably could have not splattered the middle and we would have been fine. So I'll have to trim this because I haven't trimmed that. But so I cut out a title that says Lucky Me. So we're going to add our title over here. So I'm just placing my pieces and then we are going to start adhering them. Okay. So I'm just going to line up my paper across the bottom. I'm trying to work fast so that we're not here for forever. So, okay. I'm just going to lay my ruler across the bottom so that I know I'm getting stuff kind of straight. And I'm going to work from one side to the other. So I'm just going to add my scallop piece. And like I said, I left the measurements for the scallop piece and these two pieces of paper exactly the same as from the party time layout. But I've just swapped out the paper. The pockets are also the same size. And the pockets are the same size. The photo mats are the same size. I tried to add the title so that it was pretty close to the same size, but obviously it's a completely different look, this title. So I did have to adapt the size a little bit. Okay. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so I'm just trying to decide. I'll just trim this with my scissors, which are behind me because, of course, I was doing something else before we started. So I have pears all over my office. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this to the 11 inches. And then I also have gold shimmer trim, and I'm just going to decide whether we're going to put it over here. Yeah, I think we're going to do it over here. Okay, and I'm going to add 3D foam tape to my title. You guys want to see something funny? I don't know if you noticed this, but look how I managed to get it just around the edge, outer edge of my finger somehow. I don't even know how I did that. Oh well. I'm thinking maybe I need to keep that wipe here. Okay, so I've got my zip strip down and I'm just going to cut my gold shimmer trim. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of adhesive to the corner of my Versamat. Normally I would do this on the side of my desk, but just so I can show you guys. An easy way to take the backing off. So I'm just sticking it into the adhesive, and it just then lifts, the back lifts right off. Just like that. And I'm going to turn it around and add this over here. Okay, and then we're going to add our pockets. Yes, it is. So she's just asking if the gold shimmer trim is close to my heart. Okay, so then I've got my title, okay, but we're going to place our photographs and our pockets down so that I get my placement right. So I have, okay, so these are 3x4 photos. So I just wanted to show you, I've printed them, 2 of them on a 4x6. So I'm just going to cut these apart because I only needed 3 photographs, but I still filled the space, and I'll use this on a different layout later. So if I was already printing it, it didn't make sense to not have that space filled. So I'm just gonna, I just wanted to show you that before I cut it apart. So, and then I grabbed grape. Oh, I seem to have cut that mat not at the right. Oh, it's too small. We're gonna have to grab another mat. Okay, but we'll start putting together our pockets. So I cut the pockets out of lilac, and I have 3 of them. And I'm going to show you how this works because we're actually going to cover part of it up. So this is how the pocket works. The Cricut will score it for you, and then we're going to fold it and put it together. Now, when we put it on, we're going to put it like this, and then you can see our photo is wider. So we're going to space them apart with enough room for our 3 photographs to go in there. So we're going to score and assemble our 3 pockets. And then I'll cut another mat for that last photograph. So I'm just going to gently fold on all my score lines. Okay. And you can see the pocket's obviously smaller than your photograph. So it just is the same size as the tag. So I'm going to I've added adhesive before. I just wanted to make sure that it was a strong adhesive so that the pocket will stay closed. And sometimes your intuition would tell you to put these on the inside, add your adhesive on this tab, and then close it. But I'm going to show you. So we're going to do it this way. We're putting the tabs and I'm folding them around the outside. And I'm going to tell you why. So here is my tag that's going to pull in and out. So by rolling these pieces around to the back, they're not on the inside of your pocket and your tag doesn't get caught on those pieces. So if you do it like this, right, these are on the inside, you have to make sure that when you put your tag in, they fit right into the slot like that. But if you wrap it around the outside, you don't have those tabs in the middle getting it in the way. Your tag fits in perfectly and pulls out smoothly. So we're just going to do the other two. And I'm actually going to adhere my photographs and everything to the pocket before we stick it down so that I know my spacing is right. Okay, and I'm going to slide my tags in there too so that I know how to space everything. Okay, so I've wrapped those around the back so none of my tags are going to get in the way. Okay, and I can just put my tags in so I know how much space I need. Okay. I've already added the journaling lines to 2. We'll add the journaling lines to the last one in 1 second here. Okay. So let's mat our photographs. So like I said, these are just 3x4 photographs. Okay, and they're going to sit like that. I will just grab another piece to mat the last one. These are actually photographs from last Easter. And my kids, we went to my mother-in-law's for lunch, and my kids were rolling around on the ground with the dogs. And my kids aren't young, so it was very funny because they were all being very goofy. Okay, so we'll just cut that mat to the right size. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to add this one on. This one seems to be slightly crooked. We're just going to fix that because that will make me crazy. Okay, because once we get that under a page protector and we cut the page protector, we're not going to be moving that photograph again. So, okay, last photo. I actually have lots of human photos too from this day, but they're all my husband's side of the family, so I didn't know if I should be live streaming a layout of them. So you guys get the dogs instead. They're cute. So okay. So now you can decide how much of your pocket you want to show. So you could cover it right up. You could show some of the lilac. You could make it bigger. It totally depends on you. I just know that I want the three of them to all be the same, and I know about how much room I have, right? And so these are going to, this is the biggest one. So I just want to kind of make sure that I have enough space to add my cascading clovers on here, right? So this is kind of what I'm thinking, envisioning in my head. Okay, so I know I'm going to kind of want to move them probably just a little bit farther over so that I have a little bit more room. Okay, and I know my title is here. So we're going to, I'm just going to see how much that is. It looks probably, so I'm just going to lay my ruler down on top of it so that I can center my pocket, my photograph on my pocket, and that they're all the same. So I'm just going to move these back out of the way because they don't need to be underneath me. Okay, so I can add, you can do it either way, but just remember you're going to have, you can see, this is a good visual. Your photograph is longer than your pocket, right? So if you're going to put adhesive on your photograph, only put it in this section, not all the way over yet. Okay, and then I'm just going to center it on my pocket like that. Okay, and so then I'm just going to make this one the same. I'm going to add the adhesive on my pocket. And center my photograph. There we go. And now we're going to do the last one. So same thing. I'm just lining up underneath my ruler, my pocket, and so I can see where to add my adhesive. And then I'm going to center my photograph. Okay, so those are now ready to add. So we're going to add our title over here. So I'm going to pop my top piece, the Lucky Me part, up on foam tape. And then we'll decide where we're going to put it. So for whoever doesn't have the sheet from the original class and you would like to get it, if you just comment in the comments below sheet, I'll add the link after. I've got it uploaded as a downloadable PDF. So I will do that right after I am finished. Okay. So with this too, with all the clovers and the greens, I played a lot with the two-tone cardstock to get lots of variation in color. So I've used both sides of the cardstock so that you get, so this is the light side and then this is actually the dark side. So I'm just going to center this on the back banner. So who actually that's watching attended Extravaganza where I taught this the first time? Okay, I think we're not going to glue this down until for another second here because I want to see how this is all going to play in here. And then I have a few other things on my table that we're going to add. So, but I think before I start adding the clovers, I kind of want to get these in the right spot. And I'm happy with this because I want lots of room over here to add the cascading. So like I said, instead of the sequins, which we did at Extravaganza, we're going to add the clovers, which are tons of fun. So, okay, on this pocket, Judy's seen all the variations. And I think they have all been fun. So, like I said, because I taught it first, so I'm just lining up my ruler on the top and the bottom of my Versamat so I can see that I'm straight. As long as my paper is on here straight, my background, we should be okay. So sometimes I'll just put a small amount of adhesive onto the back of the layout so that it'll stay. Here, I'll do that so you can see. So I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of adhesive, like a very small little bit, onto the back of my Versamat while I'm working. Okay, and then I've lined up my layout and I'm just going to push where I know the tape is. So then I'm not getting it shifting while I'm working. So I don't know if that's helpful. But lots of times I'll be working away and not even realize that, of course, my layout is moved on my Versamat and I'm not actually straight anymore. So if you just do that little step, then it doesn't move. Okay, so I also know I want a little bit of room at the bottom because I think I'm going to try and get some of the clovers to go across the bottom, like the cascading sequins. This is a good option too for anybody that was stressed out, because the cascading sequins did stress some people out. They were not sure about that. I love it, but it is a lot of sequins. So if that's not your desire, then this might be, so you could use lots of different things, right? So if you do any sort of embellishment, you could repeat over and over and over again to create your cascading side. I can tell I'm going to run out of tape runner. I tried to remember to grab everything, but okay, so it is coming together. Okay, so then the other thing that we're going to add in here is the other day when I did the March perpetual calendar insert, we played with this little flower cluster and the butterfly. So I stamped 2 extra and I colored one ahead of time and we're going to play with it, and I'm going to color a second one and we're going to add it in somewhere. And then I have some butterflies that we will add also. So we'll color now this second one So that, because these two things we're going to lay in first as we start to add in the clovers. So because I stuck that down onto my mat, we'll use this one. Okay, so I have just a plain piece of paper to put underneath because my tri-blend markers will go through. You can see they come through the back, so you just want to make sure to always protect your surface before you start. Okay, so then I've grabbed a pile of colors. They're the same colors I used the other day for, like I said, for coloring the March insert. So we're going to do the leaves first. And so I'm going to start with the Alpine Green. So I have Alpine Green and Dull Green. And I'm going to go Alpine Green Light. So for anybody that doesn't know, there's 3 shades. So it makes like shading and highlighting super easy. So I'm going to lay a layer of the Alpine Light. And then I'm going to add the dull green over top of it to change the color of the green to make it more muted and match my project a little bit better. Okay, so I've got my Alpine Green Light. Okay, and then we're going to make some magic. I'm going to take the dull green and I'm going to go with the mid and I'm going to color over top of it and they react together and it's changed the color. You can drastically see the difference between one and the other. Okay, so adding a layer on all my leaves. I love the big black lines of this stamped image. So it's in the series of the months of the year. Okay, and so I'm going to do it one more time just for a little bit more color change. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's our leaves. So now I'm going to color my yellow hearts. And I have gold, yellow, and citrus. So I'm going to go with the gold in the light. Okay, and this is almost like a orangey yellow, but watch, we're going to change that color too. So now I'm going to do my citrus in the dark and add that on top. And I'm going to do that twice. Okay, so then we'll do our purple flower because that's the big one. And I'm going to go with my hydrangea in the medium. And I will color that. Now watch this one. This is a fun one because this is like purple, and we're going to make it blue purple by adding the ice gray on top. So that it kind of blends in better with our flowers from the In This Together paper. Okay, so then, that's not the right color. I need the gray. So now we're going to take the medium ice gray and color over top. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. There we go. So the last one we have to do is just our little pink flower. And we're going to do alpine green, alpine pink, pale pink, and the blender. So I'm going to lay the alpine pink, because there's alpine green too, and we're coloring with it, on first, okay? And then, but I want it to be like pinker pink. So I'm going to take my blender pen, and I'm going to take off some of the color. So I'm running my blender pen over top of it, and you'll see it lighten up. It's probably super hard to catch on camera, but it's fun to watch it happen in real life. Okay, and then I'm going to add my pale pink light on top. And there, that's the result you get for coloring. Okay, I should show you the marked insert here. So we did kind of a just slightly different variation in the flowers, but here I colored two of them and tucked them in behind there like that. So these were the two that were left over. Okay, and then, so just quickly beforehand, I just colored this in with the Wisteria Shimmer Brush to give it a little bit of sparkle. And I think we'll do one pink one too. So I'm going to use that alpine pink in the lightest color. We might need a third butterfly. We're going to see. We'll just start now laying some pieces down, and then we'll decide if we need more little bits of things. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so now we've got this. So I'm going to quickly fussy cut these. So these are super nice because, like I said, there's that nice bold line that you can see. So I'm just leaving just a slight white border around the outside. And I'm not worried about going inside there because it's going to be down probably on top of a part that's got Wait Daisy on top of it already. So I'm just trimming around the image. I'm sure some of these parts are like watching paint dry for you guys, but I think the end result will be super cute. As I like to say. So anybody that's watched me knows I say super cute a lot, sorry. And because I'm Canadian, I say sorry all the time too. Okay. So while I'm doing this boring part, I'll tell you. So I planned out, I think, what I'm going to do for next week. So next week, I think I've got a plan. I'm going to take an old workshop that I've created, and we're going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to take a really old workshop and show you a new layout with like one of the old layouts. Old layouts, new product. That's what I mean. To show you the like the value in a workshop. So, because lots of people ask, well, but once I've used it once, but I'm like, well, but you could use it again and again and again. It's the same concept as what we're doing right now, right? So sometimes you just need the little bit of inspiration to get you going. Okay, almost done. Oh, and then, so then the second one, because we've been working on the calendar inserts, so next week, so I started doing lives with the March one. And then people were asking if I'd done January and February. So we're going backwards. I did February this week because I thought we would go, if we're going to go backwards, we'll go closest backwards first. So I did February this week, and then next week I'll go back and do January. And I have a cute idea, and I think it's going to work. For those, I don't really plan too much of it. Okay, so then I've got one down here. Okay, we'll trim out our butterflies in a little bit because that's probably enough watching me fussy cut for a few minutes for you guys. Okay, so then on my fun little tray here, I have the clovers. So I picked a clover from Artfully Sent and I altered it. So I altered it and I've cut it out in 4 different sizes. Okay. So we're going to assemble, I'll show you what I've done to it. And then we'll start laying them in. I just need to move something out of my way here though, so that I can actually show you. Okay. So here we go. I can move this. I don't need that anymore, I don't think. Ah, that's much better. Okay. So each clover, so they were actually like in like on a card. So I cut them out and separated the image, and then I altered it so I made 2 layers because I knew I wanted 2-layer clovers. I've added little tiny score lines to it so we can add some dimension to them. And then I knew I didn't need 2 stems. So I altered it and cut out the stem from the top one. And so, like I said before, I'm playing with the concept of the 2-tone cardstock also. So I did clover and evergreen, and then I've alternated them. So some are dark and some are light. And then I just took, so also then, by cutting out this little section here, I know exactly how to line my clover up. So I know that that square is where the stem is. Then on top of that, if I don't want those stems, like let's say it'll fit better without them, I can just then cut some of the stems off and we have just the 4-leaf clover part. So see, I know exactly where this one's going to fit because I've cut out that section right there. Okay, so we'll do another one. So I have my background piece. And then this is the top layer, and I'm sure you can't see it, but I added little tiny score lines, and they don't go all the way in because I just wanted the leaves to fold, not the whole thing. So it's just solid in the middle. And then I'm just adding a glue dot to the back. And then I can lift it off and I'll try and do it so you guys can see. So it just fits perfectly like that on there. Okay, so now we're just going to start adding our cascading clovers. So I'm going to add a few of the largest ones down first. Okay, so here's an example. I might not want that stem there, so I might trim it off when we get closer, or I'm just going to cover it up. So I want to put down a few of the really big ones first, and then fill them in with the rest of my layers. So this is the next size down. And then I just need to see here. how small these ones need to be. Because I do want a few to kind of just go across the bottom. And these are little teeny tiny ones. So you can add as much or as little as you think you want there. And we're going to still add something to these clovers. So I grabbed gold sequins, and I have platinum stickles, and we'll add a little bit of that too. Okay, so now I think I need to start gluing some stuff down here so I don't knock it all off. Okay, so now I'm going to pick a spot to start. Okay, and I want this in here, and so I'm going to add some foam tape behind this, so because I know that I'm going to want it popped up because there's so much dimension on the clovers. So I just have my 3D foam tape, and I'm just going to cut a little piece. Okay, and I'm going to add it behind, and I'm not going to stick this down yet. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to start here, and I'm going to glue a few things down, and then we'll start adding in more as we go. So let's see. I will add this big one in here. Okay. And with all these little layers, right, some of it pokes through and you get like little glimpses of all the different layers through there. Okay, so I'm just going to start gluing some down, and then I'm going to keep adding in. But I want to get some of the bigger ones down, and then I can add the little ones on top. I just have to keep checking to see if it's one I've glued down yet or not. Okay. And I know it's a lot of green, but the second we start to break it up with the gold, it won't be so much green. So I'm just creating kind of layers and all different textures in here. If I could have embossed that mink scallop piece back there too, and that would have been pretty, with maybe like the cascading dots, or even like the spring blossom would have been nice. Okay, so I just want to get them kind of roughed in, and then we will just start filling in some of our spaces. Okay, so I'm going to add this little bit down here. And I don't have a lot of space on the bottom, so I'm just being careful about how I add them. So it's kind of, I almost want it to look kind of like a garland there. Okay, so now I'm going to add this piece in here. Okay, so these are all stuck down. So I'm going to keep adding in there, but I want to decide what I'm going to add over onto this side. So I think I'm going to add one like that, and then a little one. Okay, and then I'm going to add my title, and I'll have this piece. You guys, I thought, oh, there's no way I'm going to use all those clovers. And look at that, we're almost out. Okay, so we'll add our title down. And so I'm just tucking it so it touches the zip strip here and connects just to our clovers there. And then I'm going to add some 3D foam tape onto this piece too. Okay, and I just want to make sure that I'm not going to overlap my tags because we're going to make those so they pull out. Okay, so I'm going to take the smaller ones that I have left here and layer them up. Okay, adding this one in here, and then I'm going to move this one up here. Okay, so I think we're going to stop, and now we're going to add a few sequins in there, and we're going to add a little bit of stickles. So I have to do this carefully so that I don't end up putting my hand in it. And I was going to alter the page protector, but now I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be wet. So I can show you, maybe we'll just redo one of the other ones. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to alter the page protector right now before I add the extra glitter on here. So in order to make the tabs so they come through the page protector, right, we're going to cut it. So you're going to want to, so normally I would wait till I was completely finished. But we're going to do this now so that you guys can see it before I put all the final embellishments on here. Because I'll be able to add it back in after. So make sure before you do this that you know if it's going to be a left or a right page, because once you alter your page protector, it's for this layout. Okay, so I've inserted in the page protector. Sorry, we're going to get some glare at this point. Now, these tags are what I want to pull in and out, right? So I'll just show you, right, with this other one. So these are what we're trying to make happen. So I have sliced the page protector right here. So that's what we're going to do right now so that we can pull it in and out, right? So like I said, there's lots of things you could put on those tags. You could put extra photographs. You could put your journaling, which is what I did. Or nothing. Okay, so I'm just going to mark on the plastic where I need to cut so my tag comes through. So I need to cut right along that line where that tag is, and on each side of the tag so that the opening is big enough. So I'm just going to mark it with my pen on my page protector, and I'm just making it slightly larger than my tag. Okay, I can also take my piercing tool and make just a little pierce where I know I'm going to cut. Okay, so now I would take my page protector off, but I think I'll do it. I'm going to do it with the layout still inside. I know this is going to like stress people out, but it's okay. Because I want to do it so you guys can actually see it pass through. So I've got a super sharp knife, okay? And then I have, okay, so what I use is it's just a super hard piece of packaging. So I don't even know what it was from. And then I just have a Post-it note that's got lines on it, okay? And the deal with that is I can line my dots up on the line of the Post-it note. And then I know that I'm straight. So on my line for my Post-it note, I have my 2 dots, and I'm going to slice between my 2 dots. I have a little tiny metal-edged ruler, and that's just my preference. I like the metal edge to cut against because I know that it's not going to scrape off my... if it's plastic, you can literally, if your knife is sharp enough, right, cut the edge of your ruler. Okay, so then I'm going to show you. I can just now pass my tag through my page protector. Okay, so we'll do the next one. We'll do the next 2, and then we will go back to decorating. So again, I can see my 2 dots. I'm lining them up on my Post-it note from one edge to the other. Okay, so one of my dots is here and one of my dots is there. I'm just going to grab my ruler. Okay, and I'm just going to basically connect my dots on that line. Like that. And then we'll do the last one. Okay, so you guys, it's nothing to be afraid of to cut your page protector. And there's always more page protectors if you mess it up. So, and I think it was last week I did a video where I showed you how to pass even a flip-flop through your page protector. So if you adhered it right to your page versus on top, you can use this exact same method for passing your flip-flop through. Okay, so now I can take this out, and now you can see all my tags will go through my page protector. We're not going to see this part again though, because it's going to need to dry. Okay, so now all the tags, I should have probably gotten the middle one out first. Okay. So there we go. So that is totally fun. Okay, so I'll add some twine and then they'll just come out. And everything's protected. All my photographs are underneath the page protector, so I don't have to worry about them at all. Okay, so that's how you alter the page protector for this one. And then I would go back and I would just clean my dots off. They'll just wipe right off. Obviously not if you pierced a big, huge hole, but just the pen will just wipe right off the page protector because it's such a slick surface. Okay, so while we have the tags out before we decorate, because now it's just about the adding, we're going to add twine to the tags, we're going to add the sequins, and we're going to add some stickles and probably our butterflies. And then we're done. Okay, so I'm just going to want to add the journaling lines to my tag. So again, I'm just going to take a little tiny bit of adhesive out to the back of my tag, and I can add my tag right to my mat. Okay, and then I could take my ruler and my pen, and I can draw my own journaling lines so that my journaling will be straight when I journal on my page. You can just freehand write also. The thing is too, you have to remember that this is tucked into your page, so you don't want to go too much past there, right? Because then your writing will be all out here instead of underneath. So I think, yes. And I did 3/4 of an inch, or no, 3/8 of an inch between my lines. So a little bit wider than I normally do, but there we go. You can also, if you're, because normally I do 1/4 inch lines, so I would just line my ruler up on my Versamat and use that as my guide for my lines versus the lines of my ruler for spacing. Okay, and then I'm just moving it up and I can see through my ruler. So like I said, if I wanted to just do 1/4 of an inch, I could just move it up to there and use the either side of my Versamat to help guide my journaling lines. If you don't have a ruler, you can see through. Okay, and so don't forget, for whoever missed the sheet from the original class, if you just comment sheet, I'm going to come back and I'll add the link where you guys can go and download that. Okay, so now our tags are done. I would just roll this off my mat, take my rub and erase, and I just will pull that adhesive off the back. I'm just going to add some mink twine to those so they pull in and out. Okay, let's get the twine. This should be enough. Okay, so I would just cut a length of twine. And then pass it through. Okay, and then I would trim it up so that they're all the same and fray my ends, and then we would be good. So I think I'll just do one, and then we will finish the decorating so that you guys are not here all afternoon. Okay, so I'm just tying these, and then I would trim them. Because the decorating is the funnest part. So I'll show you what I'm going to do to the clovers. And after, I'll take photographs and close-up shots of this. So I've just, okay, so that's how you will pull the tags in and out. And once it's in the page protector, this doesn't get in the way because it sits on top of the page protector. Okay, so to the center of some of these, I'm just going to add a sequin. So I've just dumped my sequins into a little box, and I have my glue dots. I'm just going to make sure I have the right size here. Nope, those are the big ones. So I have my glue dots, and I would normally do this in a more controlled way, but I'm going to dump some of my sequins onto my table here, and I will take my tweezers. And because there's different sizes and different finishes, you can get so many great looks out of sequins. And they're a great way to embellish, like huge bang for your buck, because there's a ton of sequins in a bag. So normally I would just add like a series of sequins to my dots, right, in varying sizes, varying finishes. And then I can just lift them off my glue dots and add them as I need them. So for example, if I was working on a workshop and I knew that I was using these sequins as my embellishment on all my pages, I would just sit and line up various different sizes onto my tape on my glue dots, and then just use the ones that I want as I go. Okay, let's add one of these and one of these. I'm not really looking for the clear ones on here, right? Because I want that little touch of gold. Okay, so now obviously on my bigger ones, I'm going to pick a few of the bigger ones and put the bigger sequins in the middle, like that. You could also, I didn't get my dot there. We could add gold dots, gold glitter gems also on some of them, just for a different texture. And I'm not going to do every one, but I'm going to do some of them, right? Here, let's see if I have some gold glitter here. I should totally, but I might have just used them on something. Oh, there they are. Okay. So these are just the gold glitter gems, and by adding them, right, there's two sizes. So I've got just another different texture going on. And I think some of these I'm going to add right onto my layout also. So here, and the difference is subtle. but it is definitely there. So some of them I'm going to add onto my page. Some of them I'm going to add into the clover. Okay, I know I want something here, so I'm going to go with a larger sequin here. Okay, and then I need to tie these ones over here, so I'm going to do something right here. So I'll add this to this one. Okay, and then I need to do something up here. So I'm going to add a gem and a sequin up here to kind of tie the whole thing together. So I'll hold it up so you can see. Okay, so I've got the sequins and then the gems, and there's some sequins. Okay, so I'm going to add some of the gems up here. And down here. Guys, this is good. I'm cleaning off the sheet. I have lots of little ends of packages here. So, there we go. This one is just screaming at me like it wants something up there. So, let's go with a glitter gem. Okay, so we're almost finished. Now we're just going to add, so we need to decide if we should add our butterflies in. So I will just trim them out and we'll lay them down and decide. So it's handy, right? If you are using a stamp set and you're not really sure what you're going to do with it, I just stamped a couple extras and I just threw them inside the stamp package, right? So that next time when I pulled it out, they were ready to go. Okay, so that one we're going to do up there. And this pink one we're going to add down here. So when I did the March calendar insert, I knew I was going to be coloring, so I used the Intense Black ink. And so you need to give it a little bit to dry anyway before. So I just stamped extra in case I made a mistake. Okay, we're getting closer. I need to move some stuff again out of my way. Okay, so we're going to put the sequins back in its container before I dump it. I did that teaching, I think 2 weeks ago. Teaching in the membership group, I was trying to add sequins to something. And they were in a craft container like that. And I just wanted a few, and I literally dumped the whole thing on the top of my desk. But, okay, so I think I'm just going to use a glue dot to glue those butterflies down so that they're down quickly. There we go. And one more. So see, we all have crafty accidents. I cleaned them up though and put them back in my container. And no one was the wiser, other than everybody that was watching me teach. Okay. Okay, so I think we're figuring this out. We're almost done here. Okay. So now all I'm going to do is the only thing left I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of detail to some of the clovers with stickles. So I grabbed the platinum stickles, and so I'm just going to outline a few edges of some of these just for another little bit of sparkle. So once I do this though, guys, I'm not touching it very much more because it needs to dry. And so I'll just leave it. Depending on how thick you add the stickles will depend on how long it takes to dry. So I'm going to add some like that. I'm going to add a few little dots on my butterfly. Anybody that's on here that's watched me teach knows that I love all the stickles. There's such a great value. Like, for lots of them, I'm still on my first bottle of stickles, and I use them a lot. So I'm going to add around the outside here and here. And I can add, so I could add 2 into the center of some of these where I've done the folding to add the texture. So there's kind of no rhyme or reason to my stickles at the moment. I'm just kind of adding them where I just want a little more glitter, because I love the glitter. Not everybody does, and not everybody needs to add it to their scrapbooking pages, but I think it's just fun. And it will dry and it won't flake off. So that is great. A little bit on this butterfly. So this one is just a little bit thicker. So I know that that's going to take a little bit longer to dry. And so if I'm doing something in this, I have to make sure that I'm going to add it into my other areas that I've decorated, right? So I'm making sure that I have some on this side. And then I will add some up here at the top. So I'm probably just going to add it to the middle of this flower. Maybe I'll add it to the middle of all the flowers up here. Okay. So I think we are done, my friends. Because I could just sit here and keep adding and adding and adding. But okay, so I saw that some people had commented sheet. So whoever wants the sheet for the original, which was the party time, I will come back in and drop the links in right away. Maybe we should add the twine on the last 2. Because after this, once it's dry, I'm going to leave it dry until tomorrow. And then I will take my photographs of it. So if you want the sheet from the original party time one, just comment sheet below and I will drop the link in where you can download it for yourself. And so this, like I said, was, I'll fix these all up so they match. I'm just going to keep talking while I'm finishing. So like I said, this was a project that I taught at Extravaganza. So some of you realize that we started advertising for another, Creative Collaboration is doing another event. This one's a little bit different, and it's in April. And it is a paid event, and there'll be 6 projects. And the tickets are available now. So if you need any information about that, if you just comment ticket below, I can send you in the right direction to find out more information about tickets to that event. So that's April 17th, and we're going to do 6 projects. There'll be layouts and cards and 3D projects. And that's going to be a super fun day. It's the anniversary of our very first Extravaganza event. So this one is a little bit different. Like I said, it's a paid event, but there'll be a full cutting guide and classes, and you'll have a private Facebook group where you can watch. And even if you can't make it on the 17th, once you're in the event, then all that stuff is going to stay there for as long as you need to use it up. Thank you. Judy says it turned out lovely with the clovers. So, okay, I'm going to hold it up and we'll do a few little up close looks where I'm going to try not to stick my hand back in my stickles. So we've got the 2-tone clover, 2 tones like different colors of cardstock. We've got the gold sequins and gold gems in there. Our pull-out pockets. If you need to watch the part about altering the page protector, I did it before, right? So because I'm not going to put this back in my page protector to alter it right now. We popped up the title on foam tape. We did some coloring with this awesome month of the year, March. And then we've tied all the sections together. So this is in exchange for our cascading sequence. So I'll quickly walk back through some of the other versions, and you can just see, I'm going to lay down beside it. I just need to move some stuff out of the way. I'm going to lay down beside it the original class that I taught, and you guys will see how different it looks, but it's exactly the same. Okay. Well, so this was the live class that I taught. I should have qualified that. Yes. See, like, nobody's going to see that in your scrapbook and say, excuse me, you did one of those like 6 months ago. Because they're totally different. So this is the party time one. This is the original one. And then this is the one we did today. Like I said, I will take photographs and add this one. I'll add some photographs back on here. And then, so I'll just quickly show you again. This was the original class that I taught within the membership group. And then this was, I just showed them at the live event. An alternate version. So this featured the lovely paper collection, and it had some of the same elements, but some different elements, right? This one is matted, so it's got double matte on the photographs, much more contrasting colors. There is still the sequin cascade on here, but instead of a Cricut cut, this is from the thin cut, the flower thin cut and die. So, and this one has a different title on it, but we've kept the same paper ripping from the first version versus this just has a plain title on it. Okay, so that's what I've got for you guys today, and happy Friday. And I hope you all enjoyed this, and we'll talk to you later. So we're right on an hour and a half. So I did try and speed it up a little bit because I knew that there was lots to this. But I hope you guys have a great weekend and stop by again. We'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye-bye.